Hello, everyone. I'm Cory P. We have Britt from the block. We have Rozzo, and we have Rach. And this is Breaking Bread. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Y'all ready to break bread?
Yeah.
All right. So, y'all had the opportunity to talk about the life of a woman, right?
We did.
So now we're going to talk about the inside of a man. Oh, come on now, Sam. And so I know that you all are ladies, so
that is a true statement.
Great observation.
In case anyone was questioning that.
I just want to make sure, everybody know. And so I'm going to give y'all an opportunity to ask some questions that, maybe like y'all don't understand about a man. Because I think it's some myths out there that people think like, okay, men think this way. But
how long do we have?
The first thing that came to my mind is I feel like men are very poor communicators.
Oh, I'd agree on that. Can we get that 2 times?
I truly disagree.
Okay.
How you figure?
Because when you say, maybe if you would have said some.
Okay. Well,
maybe if you said some.
How about this? So we don't have to keep saying that.
Okay.
We'll start the whole podcast by saying this is some
Okay,
men.
Thank you. All right.
Okay. We know that we cannot encompass all men with what we're saying,
but
and
we
it doesn't apply to
you.
everywhere.
All right, so to talk about that that is all right, that's a statement that some people might believe, but I think that we communicate maybe different. I think it's not that we don't communicate. I think we all have
that's
different.
That's a political answer. So how about you give us the real
I think that's so growing up, emotions, we are taught to be strong, and I do believe that at moments that we kind of hold things in, but we find other ways to communicate, and I think that's for everybody. I think that as a woman and as a man, each person communicate different, so we have to find the way that person communicates. So for a man, sometimes they're taught to hold things in, and so we gotta, and there's a reason, because that shows strength, and I can do it by myself. So I think that a lot of times from a woman perspective, if that is the challenge because that particular man is not communicating in that way, maybe she need to kind of ask questions and figure out why, like what's going on in that moment, because it's a reason. Like for me, I don't deal with that. I think I'm an amazing communicator.
Okay.
But I can see that moments that I might shut down.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather deal with it by myself.
I would agree that most men have been taught in their life to not show emotion, and that makes it hard. I think when we kind of touched on it whenever we were talking about the women, that women respond emotionally, and then guys don't know what to do because then they've been taught their whole life to ignore these emotions, and so whenever they're thrown emotions, they don't know what to do with them. So that could be a communication barrier.
Yeah.
But I wonder, why? Why are little boys, even into grown men, told that, don't worry about emotions?
I think because, the person that's telling that never learned how to communicate properly as well. And then I think it goes on both sides. I remember, it's just being honest, depending on where, you grew up, your community. Like, if somebody was to do something, they'll call that man weak. Oh, man, you weak, man. Man up. And this women, I ain't talking about men saying this, right?
Yikes.
Yeah, man, that's soft, man. I don't want no soft man.
Yeah.
There's a boundary.
See,
there's a line
but but if you are making statements like that, if women are making statements like that, and the man, most men want women to look at them as strong, regardless if it's I'm your brother, your friend, or your boyfriend. But from that perspective, most of the time, if it's in school, it's about attraction, right?
Right.
And just being honest. And so if I'm hearing women saying that's weak, don't be weak, man up, then you ain't finna get none of this. I'm truly man up.
That's true.
And I'm not gonna give you nothing. So deal with it.
Oh, man.
And then if you, and this is another thing, and if you see that women are attracted to those type of men, then even if you were a guy that liked to communicate, you'll start shutting down. Because if that person want that, then I become that.
No.
If I want, if I want that person. And I think that women sometimes don't understand the power that you all have, because most of the time, even when I was younger, a lot of things that I did was, okay, I wanted, the girls to like me. Well, if they like me, well, I'm doing something that I believe that they want me to do. I wouldn't do that I didn't think they wouldn't want me to do if I want them to like me. Right?
I mean, I guess that's true.
I guess I understand that. I have to be honest in saying I've articulated that a man has been soft before, but there's a fine line though.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a line.
So what? Let me ask you that. What would consider soft? So let's discuss that because that's
extremely passive. Like there's one person I give this example every time I'm asked this question. There was one man that I was seeing, and he never had his own opinion about anything.
Oh yeah.
Like he always, goodness, he was. For example, he'd be like, "Hey babe, what you want for dinner?" I'll be like, "Spaghetti." "Oh, okay, spaghetti's cool." I'd be like, "Actually, I want tacos." "Oh yeah, tacos are cool." "No, I want spaghetti." "Yeah, spaghetti's cool." Like he never would say, "You know, I want like he never give his opinion about anything.
Okay.
It's always whatever I want.
Because men don't really care. Some men don't really care, like they don't have.
I think that's like when it comes to food, especially if I like
everything though.
No, I'm just using it as an example though. I do think I think
I go through that with like even a lot of stuff that I thought that my spouse wasn't a communicator, but it's honestly he did not care.
I don't care.
He have no opinion about it.
So when it comes to the core in the house, right?
I don't care about that.
Not care. Like seriously.
About what?
Decor, like decoration.
Oh.
So if we was to go somewhere and my wife said, "Hey, what do you think about that? Whatever you want."
I don't think nothing.
I really don't. So you don't have a no. I would feel if you like that when I come in, I believe I would feel good about it.
Yeah.
But women get mad about that because it's just like we're trying to do this together. Like, come on, like give me input or whatever like that. Back in the day, I used to be like, so you just don't care at all. Like I would be mad that you don't care, but then I'm realizing I'm trying to make you be fake. I'm trying to make you have an emotion about something that you care nothing about.
And so to go back, that was a great point that you made, right, Ross, because Britt, what you were saying that I don't know this. I'm sure it's more to it, but
You just using that example, right?
So using that example though, even though it's more to it, was it soft or is it something else? See, that word is so dangerous for a man. When you call a man soft, man, that I do not want to be considered soft. And I think that's the problem too with communication, using certain words where it might not have to be anything dealing with just being soft. In that moment, I was maybe, I don't know. He was taught to, just please women. I don't know, for whatever. But it's not soft. That's a decision he made. So if I make a decision that's the type of lifestyle or something I want to do, that'll make me soft. That's what made me comfortable.
But soft if you're not gonna be a stand-up guy. I don't look at it like with stuff with me. If I'm big on like protection, like making sure I'm safe, making sure that ain't nobody gonna talk to you or me or nobody no kind of way. Like be a stand-up guy. Like that's what I consider not soft.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we got pretty boys who be liking the dress. I ain't just
no.
whatever, but
it's a difference. It's just passive where you can just run all over them.
Oh yeah.
You can.
But see that's again, and I think sometimes we mix it up. I agree that would be considered passive, but does that deal with really communication though? From a standpoint of that, he's
scared of what the girl gonna say.
Yeah,
that's weak.
But what about on the flip side of that?
But we're assuming. See, that's again with communication. We're assuming that's the reason. Where we don't know what could be something that happened in his childhood. It's not that it's a fear of the person. It could be a fear of something else. And I think that's the thing that when we look at and address, especially with dealing with men, I think sometimes we automatically say, that's what it is with a man. Like if some pop up, oh, that's what it is. Instead of like, okay, it could be something more than that.
Well, what about when they're like extremely nonchalant? Like nothing seems to bother them. Nothing like they're literally like even keeled all the time, no matter what.
That's aggravating.
That is aggravating to a woman.
But I think that's okay. And we're going back to what Britt said. Some. All right. So we're gonna talk about some. Sometimes I don't think it's a man thing. I think it's a person thing. When we was at Fitly Joined Together marriage ministry, I thought that all men kind of thought one way and all women, and that was because of my past relationship with my male friends and then with Vons, and so I just assumed that was the case. But when I got into the ministry, I realized like, no, it's some women who think just like me. And so at that moment, I think that's the problem too with communication, because when you start saying it's a man thing and not really a person thing, and I get offended by it.
Yeah.
And so then I react however type of person I am. So if I'm a person that I'm loud, I'm gonna get angry.
Right.
And I'm gonna blow up. But if I'm a person that's passive, I'm gonna shut down. And so I think it also depends on the person. And so that's why I think we have to be mindful of saying, okay, that's a woman issue, that's a man issue. It's really a person issue.
Okay.
Touche.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I can agree with that. I just think that there are, like, each gender takes on certain, like, certain personality traits more often than others.
Okay. So give me one.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that, like, things that women are very, I feel like, expressive in what bothers them and what they like. You know, they're like, you know, kind of over the
So
top.
are you saying you think women are better communicators?
That's no.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, I'll say it this way. I think women are more vocal communicators.
Okay.
Maybe not better because we're emotional, but
Yeah.
we're.
I would say they're more vocal. Like, I don't, but me as a woman, I don't like pulling things out of people. Like,
Yeah.
like, so for example, I've had men in my life, friends, whatever, tell me before, like, you know, I'll be like, oh, did you like this? And they're like, oh yeah, I did. I really enjoyed, you know, that or whatever it may be. And I was like, well, you didn't say anything. They're like, yeah, but I mean, I didn't say anything, so that's a good thing. And I'm like, for me, that just blows my mind, because if I'm enjoying, you know, something like a dish or something, a food item, whatever, I'm like, it's so good.
Yeah.
And then it's like they don't say anything, and you're like, oh no.
So do you think that's for everything though? Maybe they're not into that food, or maybe they're not expressive about that particular topic.
No, I think it was all the time.
So you
like,
think how the men that you dealt with?
no, not all of them.
We said some.
We said
So
some.
like, there's been consistencies that I've seen. Same with Rachel,
Right.
where men they're not just gonna.
Yeah, they're not just gonna go out of their way to say things or do things.
And when I do come across a man that does, I notice it. I'm
Right.
like, wow, he's a good communicator.
Right. I think.
I mean, so now it's almost like, from y'all perspective, it's more than. I don't think it's some. It seems like you think that it's really a very smaller percent of men that is communicating like that.
So at the end of the day, you're saying that men are not poor communicators. They just communicate in different ways.
That's what I truly.
What ways do you communicate that's different than Bonza?
Well, see, I'm more what y'all say. The men that I met, I'm very vocal in what I believe, what I feel. We had that conversation. Vonza liked to write, so she communicated through writing.
Have you always been like that?
Yep, always been.
So, like I said, when
And I think that was because, and so I'm gonna give you the reason why. My mother was a single parent, but everything we talked about, every situation, I felt so free to talk to my mom about anything. I'm talking about. I mean, it's certain things I didn't tell her because I just knew she. You know, I'm like, I don't want to know all that is my mama. You know what I mean? But if I felt like I had to, I would.
Yeah.
You know, at that place. So I think that sometimes we have to get. You know, it depends on your childhood.
Yeah.
So I always been that way. It was an open communication. So I was able to communicate. I mean, you know, early.
Okay.
You know, so I think that's what I say. I think it's sometimes not just the man situation. It's how you was brought up. Was the house, you know, in the household, was it open communication?
Yeah.
If it wasn't, it don't matter if you're a girl or boy, you're gonna shit down.
I got you.
You know, so I think that's the thing. I don't think it's a man thing. That's why I say I think we have to be mindful, and then we also got to realize, okay, like, let me find out why. Yeah. Why is this person not communicating in this way? And then let me ask you all a question. So y'all say did y'all ever did y'all communicate how you felt to them immediately?
Yeah.
Not me, boo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we see both though. So y'all saying but we got Ross, who's another woman, you know, that said that she didn't. So that's what I'm saying. I think sometimes we got to look at it that it's not just a woman thing. It's a person thing.
Okay.
So that's so.
I'll need some extra research on that, but I hear you.
So I answered questions. I think I did it pretty good. Me and I think I'm rocking with y'all. I think, hey, look, man. Hey, look. Hey. So that's from a communication point. That's a myth. I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Anything y'all believe that like, okay, this is.
I think that a lot of, just from what I've understood from like my guy friends, that men have a lot of pressure in their life to kind of be almost like a savior to the women around them.
I agree. I don't think that's a myth. I really don't. I think that we're designed to want to help and lead, and we do. Sometimes we put that extra pressure on ourselves. I don't think it's just but I think society does though. Growing up, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the communication point. Growing up, if you playing a sport or doing everything, is hey man, be a leader, do that. And so when you get married or you start building these relationships, you feel like you have to save. Like, hey, I got to be there to protect. And then of course, y'all just spoke what I like. I want a man that protects, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, if anybody, and that's just period, anybody who want to please somebody to make someone happy, and if they hear something, they usually gonna go overboard with that.
Yeah.
Like if I say I like this, if you say I like flowers, right? If you keep hearing that every time it's an event or a birthday, a holiday, what I'm gonna get you?
Flowers.
You didn't say you want flowers every time.
Yeah.
But if I hear that you like flowers, man, if special day, flowers. Well, maybe you want some chocolate today.
Yeah.
You said you like flowers, so that's what I'm gonna give it to you. And I think that as a man, we hear that so much that sometimes we do take it to the next
extreme.
level.
Yeah.
Because that's what was that was told to us that we should do.
So then I have a question, because this has been an issue in my life before, that whenever I try to help or assist or carry part of the load of a man in my life, they don't want to give anything over. They don't want to tell me how I can help. And me being an Enneagram 2, that crushes me to the core. But like, how do you communicate to somebody that you really do want to help and you don't want them to feel like they have to carry it all? Because obviously it's putting a stress on your relationship, but they don't want to tell you anything because they're like, no, I got it, you don't need to worry about this. And it's like, no, well, it's affecting me now because you're so stressed out or whatever it may be. I
think timing is very important. I think a lot of times it's not just about a person want to receive help. I think it's the timing when it happens. I realized that early that sometimes it ain't the best. Even though you're trying to help someone, that might not be the best time to offer. And I think sometimes, especially if they venting or if they sharing something with you at that moment, they're not looking for like, okay, now I need you to come fix it. Let me. Let's talk about it. Then kind of later, if you got something to say, hey, I think that I can help in this area. I just think timing is very important. And so, but two, it's hard for men to release things, especially like strong, like an alpha man type of vibe. It's like, nah, this is mine. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna get this. You know what I mean? I got this. I take care of it. Yeah. And so I think that's the challenge. But I think women can do is communicate that. I think at the right time.
Right.
I think that's the thing. At the right time is so vital, because if you do it at the wrong time, then it can throw things off. But if we find out how to communicate that at the right moment, I think people are able to receive it better.
Okay, so I know a lot of women who go through this, and I done went through this personally too. So you know how when men are not where they want to be, it could be financially, or it could be career wise, or it could be anything like that. Instead of, if they have a partner or a spouse, instead of saying or being vulnerable, which I know they're not gonna be, they shut down or be distant, or like it wears the relationship out. Like it'd be like, do you like even want to be in a, like y'all fighting for no reason, and it's really nothing wrong. It's just you ain't where you want to be. And why is it like that? Like I don't understand.
It goes back to that point. I could be very transparent. It was a moment in my life where I paid all the bills. I just told Vons to save her money. Like we want to go on the trip, or like just save it, right? And so nice. I had income loss the following year, and I refused to tell her. You know, like when I say refuse to tell, I refused to tell her that I needed help.
Were you married at this time?
Yeah, we were married. And so I refused to, I just couldn't, like, I felt like I've been doing it, I've been holding it down, and it goes back to what we was talking about earlier as a man, being a protector. I'm here to provide for my family. I want to be a good man. I'm thinking like I'm not a good man if I'm not doing all those different things. And so I didn't say anything. And I remember one day, and I'm not telling nobody, you know, to do this. I'm just using it. It kind of broke me down because she came and she said, I know you need help. I have money saved. This our money. This is not your money. This not just your money. It's our money. My money is your money. And
That's so sweet.
And so that particular day, she and it just, and from that moment, it changed my concept. I'm not saying you got to pray. Maybe the Holy Spirit told her to do this. She took a whole check and she handed it to me. She said, this is whatever you need to do with it, do. And she said, and give me whatever you think we need. She said, because if I know I need something, it's ours. I can go in and get it. She said, but I want you to do whatever you need to do with this. And at that moment, I just broke down. And I realized from that moment, it's not just me. We're a team.
Yeah.
And so I think that sometimes as men, we battle with becoming a team.
Yeah.
Because you feel weak.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, I don't think I'm not going to speak for all women, but, like, I think that for mature women, I would say, that whenever a man expresses his weaknesses, that doesn't make him less strong, to me anyway. Like, if he's like, you know, hey, I'm really working on this, you know, if you show, for me especially, like, if you show those vulnerabilities, I think that makes you stronger, because you're able to, you don't think that you're just the best at everything and, you know, whatever. That, I feel like that makes you seem arrogant. You know, I got it all together. I'm the best at everything. I don't need any help kind of deal. That, to me, is like, that is weakness to me.
Yeah.
Or if, because y'all don't have the money that you want to have or something like that, so you don't want to do nothing. You're not going to put nothing in the relationship. You don't want to go nowhere. You don't want to do nothing. You don't want
to shut down.
You shut down.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, I feel, and I apologize to Vaughn before. During that moment, man, I didn't want to go nowhere. We had money, and she had money saved. She wasn't doing but I didn't want to go nowhere.
So is this a man thing? Do you think that this is a general man thing?
I think that's a challenge for most men. You know, because we want to have money in our pocket, and that's what, man. I'm gonna tell you what Vonza said to me, and she said, I don't have to have money in my pocket to feel.
Right. Why is that women feel that way?
Yeah, and she said, but I know you do. So she said, here you go.
Yeah.
She said, I know that make you feel, and from that moment, it also broke something in me.
Yeah.
That my woman said that I want you to feel. So if this make you feel good at this moment,
right,
here you go.
Yeah.
I don't have to walk around with the money.
Yeah.
If you think that because you paying the bill and we go out to eat, here the money in your pocket. If that does, and she wasn't doing it in like a being funny.
It's just like, so we both can have a good time.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah. If this, she said, baby, I want you to be happy. I love you. I love the man, and she just spoke to the man. And I think that's the thing that that we don't have a lot of times. So going forward, to go back to one of the things you said, what can we do? It's communication. Going back, we need to talk about these things before we even get there.
Yeah.
And I think that what kind of made my relationship with Vons so different, that we did a lot of stuff that we discussed before we got married. Stuff that normal people might not even think that I need to have that conversation about. But we did have those conversations, and that what made it so much easier. But I agree. I think that is something that a man is challenged with, because we're taught, like, man, it look weak. You don't want to be weak. You don't want to go nowhere. My woman paying for
it can ruin the relationship because you can't enjoy what we got.
Yeah, that's it.
Because you don't have nothing in your pocket right now, or we can go to Burger King and eat. Like, who cares? I feel like social media do have a big part of that, because this man think, because you buying Birkin bags for your lady, or y'all going eating at all these different restaurants, that's love. But really, when we at the house, we can't even get along. If me and you good, even though we broke, let's eat these hot wings at home in the bed. Let's chill.
Social media definitely did that, but even before my time, before we had social media, I'm thinking about like high school, college. Social media started kind of getting popping in my college years. But before that, it was just seeing too. let me say some. I'm gonna go back there. Some women really wanted men with money.
Yeah.
It just been,
There still are some.
Yeah, and so and I would say, and that's even in high school. So you saw let me use the most what guys would say were the very pretty girls. Mm-hmm. They was gravitated to the men who had money, or they dated older guys because they had money.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when you see that coming up, even though you don't think like my woman's just with me because I got money, it's like I won't still.
Yeah, I get it.
I got
Right.
that mindset. So I think that's the thing. I think having that communication and teaching that, to men, that it's not just about that, but it's hard. That is a challenge.
I think women too need to understand the thought process of a man, because so for me, my mom, I live in a household of 4 girls, including my mom. Mm-hmm. And so as women, my mom wanted to teach us like to be independent for the most part. Like she basically was like, hey, if you're married and something were to happen to, your husband, I want you to be able to take care of yourself and not have to be taking care of your whole life, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So for me, it was hard for me to let a man do anything for me. Like, no, I got it. I can buy whatever I want. I can, I can pay for whatever I want. I got it. I'm good. I'm me. But I didn't realize, like, over time, like, that was taking away from what he wanted to do as a man for me.
Yeah.
And so that hurt a lot of relationships just because I was like, no, I got it. I don't, the kind of like, I don't need no man kind of deal. But really, it was just that kind of simple stuff. And then whenever you were talking about, how Vonza gave you the money just so you could have it in your pocket, I thought about that. Like, when my parents are out to eat, they have a shared account. So it doesn't matter who pulls out their card,
That's
right?
It. Yeah.
But my dad's like, oh, left my wallet in the car. My mom will take her card out and hand it to my dad so he can pay.
Yeah.
She doesn't just say, I got it and pay for it. She'll take the card out, hand it to him so he can pay and do everything. And I never thought about that until you just said that. It's their shared account.
Yeah.
But the act of him giving the card to the waitress and then signing it does something to him.
But I think it goes both ways though. Women have certain things that that's y'all's. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's your thing. Like this is something that I hold dear to me.
Right.
And I think men have certain things, and I think learning how to respect those things make a major difference. We have to learn how to respect, and it could be different for individuals, not just because he's a man or woman, but I think just as a whole, we have to learn how to respect those things.
I think that society today wants to get rid of the quote unquote gender roles and, where you fall into place in society. And I'm all for, because like before I could leave the house, and go off to college, my dad wanted to make sure I knew how to change a tire and all that kind of stuff. Because if I was in one of those situations, I need to know what to do.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to do laundry and I had to learn how to cook because I just needed to learn how to survive when I was, gone off to college. But I think that, nowadays it's like you can do whatever you want and you can be strong, and you as a woman anyway, like you don't need a man. But I think at the same time, my friend, she just got married, and one of her big things is she felt inferior in the kitchen and she wanted to do everything she could to learn how to cook, because naturally she wanted to be able to provide a meal for her husband. He is an exceptional cook. Mm-hmm. But she wanted to fall into that role because that's what she naturally desires to do. And I was like, what's wrong with that? I don't think that there's anything wrong with having your things that you want in the relationship and in, what your natural desires are.
Yeah.
But I think society today is like, get rid of all that, even though you naturally want to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's individual. You got to know what God is telling you to do, because, Bonza now is a stay-at-home mom, and so everything income wise is from me. And I remember we was out, and so when her friend saw her, she was like, "Hey girl, what you doing?" And she was like, "I'm doing good." She was like, "Are you still at where she was working at?" And she was like, "No, I'm a stay-at-home mom." She was like, "What?" She was like, "I couldn't do that." She's like, where you get money? She's like, my husband provide.
Yeah.
She's like, I ain't finna have no man I gotta depend on.
Right.
So in that moment, you're right. Society does sometimes create. Now that's not something Von's worked, and she always,
and also a stay-at-home mom is a hard job.
And so, and that's the thing. I think that people have to understand and allow to do what God is telling them to do, because you have men that are stay-at-home men, and they love it. You know what I mean? And the wife is financially bringing, but they love it. And I think you got to find what pleases your spouse.
Right.
You're right.
What
and
works
so,
for you in your house.
That's
right.
it. Like for me, and that's something that Bones will realize. Like, man, I love for my family to be happy. I don't need, them to buy me nothing. But I want to, by seeing them happy on their birthdays, like that's my gift, right? But then I realized Bones was like, babe, but I want to do something for you. At first, like, no, don't do nothing for me, but I'm taking away her happiness.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we have to learn, with each other, that we can't take away what someone else want to do for us. We have to accept that.
Yeah, just because of pride.
Yeah.
And I think that's an issue that, and women deal with it, but I think for men, it's harder. It's a harder battle. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that I see a lot more men dealing with pride issues, especially when it comes to providing or, being that strong person. Like they don't want to budge at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think we definitely struggle with that pride because, even growing up, a lot of times, certain people tell you your parents might say, don't ask nobody for nothing. And so now you get to that place where if my parent told me, the person who I look up to told me not to ask anything that I'm not.
Right.
And that's with you, with my relation, my friends, anybody. I'm not going to ask. And it becomes prideful. And so I think what we have to do a better job is communicate.
Yeah.
And that's why we got to build these young men up and teach them the right way to do it, and not like teach this what they said, things should be.
It never fails.
We almost made it. We're at the end.
That was my fault. Guys, so they're going to talk about me. That was my phone. And I'm the only man.
This was good, though.
Yeah,
it was good.
Very enlightening.
It is enlightening. I still need to do some more research.
So what would you tell the man that's watching?
Well, no one's watching. But
listening. Well, man, what? One of the things that I would do is, first of all, pray. Because a lot of times that we have things inside us that we don't even know. And so pray, ask Holy Spirit what things that you should let go and what things that you should receive, because your household needs you. Our kids need us, our family needs us, our wives, our spouse, they need our parent, our mothers, and we need to be the man that we should be. But the only way to be that man is to hear it from God, be led by Holy Spirit. So I encourage you to get a relationship with God, figure out, kind of look at your life and see, like, what Rachel said, see some areas that you are prideful in and let it go. Release it over and then receive everything that God has already done. So that's my encouragement. You can reach out to me personally if you have some things. I am on Instagram. So check me out, but seriously, if you need something, just to talk, because we need that. Men got to understand that we can communicate and share with each other.
Yeah.
Without being weak.
Without being weak.
Or soft.
So, we don't like that.
We apologize and repent for all this.
Well, thank you, ladies. Thank y'all for maybe, realizing, y'all errors. All right, guys. Nobody, I get an amen or nothing.
No.
Okay. Well, this is Breaking Bread. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.